The church bells tolled like a death knell as Emily stood at the altar, her white gown pooling around her like a shroud. In that frozen moment, her eyes locked onto Sarah's from across the pews. Sarah, her best friend, her confidant, the woman who had been her doctor during that brutal fever 2 years ago. But it wasn't the comfort of Sarah's stethoscope Emily remembered. It was the way her hand had lingered on Emily's forehead, a touch that ignited something forbidden, something that now exploded into chaos as Sarah stood up, her voice cutting through the silence. "I object because I love her." Gasps rippled through the congregation like wildfire. Emily's fiancé, Mark, turned pale, his jaw tightening as he gripped her hand harder, as if to anchor her to the life they had planned. The priest faltered, his Bible slipping slightly in his hands, while Emily's mother, seated in the front row, clutched her pearls, her face a mask of horror and disbelief. Emily felt the world tilt. Her heart hammered not with joy for the wedding, but with a terror that this secret, buried deep under layers of denial, was now laid bare before her family, her friends, her entire small-town Virginia community. Sarah didn't back down. She strode forward, her heels clicking against the stone floor. Her doctor's coat swapped for a simple black dress that hugged her frame with unintended elegance. "Emily," she said, her voice steady but laced with desperation, "you can't marry him. Not when we've both been pretending for so long." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Emily's mind flashed back to that feverish night in there. Sarah, the on-call physician, her gentle heart shining through as she stayed past her shift, whispering reassurances that went beyond medical duty. It was then that Emily had felt the first stirrings of something more, a connection that terrified her in its intensity. Mark released Emily's hand abruptly, stepping back as if burned. "What the hell is this?" he demanded, his voice echoing off the vaulted ceiling. The guests murmured, phones already out, capturing the scandal that would undoubtedly spread like venom through their conservative suburb. Emily's father rose, his face thunderous, but her mother pulled him back, whispering urgently. Emily stood there, paralyzed, her veil suddenly feeling like a noose. She had chosen Mark because he was safe, successful lawyer, family approved, the epitome of the American dream her parents had drilled into her since childhood. But Sarah? Sarah was risk, rebellion, a love that society in their tight-knit community still whispered about in hushed, judgmental tones. As the chaos unfolded, Emily's thoughts raced. How had it come to this? 2 years ago, during that fever, Sarah had been her savior. Emily had been alone in D.C. for a conference, struck down by a vicious flu. Sarah, fresh out of residency, had treated her with a kindness that pierced through the delirium. They talked for hours about dreams, fears, the pressures of being women in demanding fields. Emily, a rising marketing executive, confessed her doubts about her engagement to Mark. Even then, Sarah listened, her eyes soft, her touch lingering. When Emily recovered, they exchanged numbers, promising to stay in touch as friends. But friendship blurred into late-night calls, shared coffees, stolen moments that Emily rationalized as platonic. Now, in the church, Sarah faced the crowd. "I've watched her sacrifice her happiness for what everyone else expects," she said, her voice cracking for the first time. "Emily, please choose yourself." Mark's best man stepped forward, trying to usher Sarah out, but she shrugged him off. Emily's heart split in two. Loyalty to her family, to the life scripted for her, versus the raw truth of her feelings for Sarah. Her mother stood now, tears streaming. "Emily, don't do this. Think of your future." The words stung, echoing the endless lectures about stability, children, the right path. Emily finally found her voice, trembling. "Sarah, why now?" But deep down she knew. Last night, in a moment of weakness, Emily had confessed her love in a tearful phone call, begging Sarah to let her go through with the wedding. Sarah had hung up without a word. Now, here she was, forcing the confrontation Emily had avoided. The priest cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should adjourn." But it was too late. Mark turned to Emily, his eyes filled with betrayal. "Is this true?" he asked, voice breaking. Emily hesitated, the weight of 100 eyes on her. If she denied it, she could salvage the wedding, her reputation. But the lie would corrode her soul. "Yes," she whispered, the word shattering the fragile peace. Mark stormed out, the door slamming like a gunshot. Guests erupted into whispers, some leaving in disgust, others frozen in morbid fascination. Sarah reached for Emily's hand, but Emily pulled away torn. Her father approached, his face a storm. "You've humiliated us all," he growled. Emily felt the first cracks in her resolve, the price of this truth already mounting. As the afternoon wore on, the church emptied, leaving Emily and Sarah alone amid the wilted flowers. "I couldn't let you make that mistake," Sarah said softly. Emily sank onto a pew, her gown rumpled. "You just destroyed everything." But even as she said it, a spark of relief flickered. Freedom, terrifying and intoxicating. Outside, rain began to fall, mirroring the turmoil inside. Emily's phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from relatives condemning her choices. Society's judgment was swift, but the real battle was within. Could she embrace this love, or would the fallout bury her? That night, back in her apartment, Emily paced, ignoring Mark's calls. Sarah had followed her home, insisting on talking. "I know the risks," Sarah said, her eyes pleading. "My family disowned me when I came out in med school. But living a lie is worse." Emily thought of her own parents. Devout, traditional, immigrants who had sacrificed everything for her success. Coming out would mean losing them, perhaps forever. Yet, denying Sarah felt like amputating part of herself. As they sat on the couch, hands finally entwining, Emily whispered, "What have we done?" The answer hung unspoken. They had chosen love, but at what cost? The days following the wedding disaster blurred into a nightmare of isolation and confrontation. Emily's phone was a constant barrage. Relatives unfriending her on social media. Colleagues whispering in the office hallways of her DC firm. Mark had packed his things from their shared condo, leaving a note that read simply, "I deserved better." Emily couldn't argue. She had led him on, convinced herself that affection was enough, ignoring the void Sarah filled. Now, alone in the echoing space, she stared at the engagement ring on her dresser, a symbol of the life she had detonated. Sarah, meanwhile, faced her own repercussions. At the hospital where she worked as an ER doctor, rumors spread like infection. A conservative board member questioned her professionalism, hinting that her personal drama could affect patient trust. Sarah shrugged it off in public, but in private, she confided in Emily over hushed dinners. "I've lost patients before because of who I am," she admitted one evening, as they shared takeout in Emily's kitchen. "But you're worth it." Emily wanted to believe her, but doubt gnawed. Was this love? Or just the thrill of rebellion against her suffocating upbringing? Family pressure escalated quickly. Emily's parents drove up from Virginia the next weekend, their SUV pulling into her driveway like an invading force. Her mother, Linda, burst in with tears, hugging her fiercely before pulling back. "How could you do this to us? To yourself?" Her father, Robert, stood rigid, arms crossed. "This isn't you, Emily. It's confusion. That woman manipulated you." Emily felt a surge of anger. Sarah didn't manipulate anything. "I love her." The words, spoken aloud to them for the first time, felt like a declaration of war. The argument raged for hours. Linda invoked their church, the community that had supported them through hard times. "What will people say? You'll never have a normal life, children, stability." Robert added the practical blows. "We're cutting you off financially. No more help with that fancy condo." Emily's heart sank. She had relied on their support during lean times. But worse was the emotional blackmail. "If you choose this path," Linda said, voice breaking, "don't expect us at holidays." Emily stood her ground, but as they left, slamming the door, she crumpled, sobbing into Sarah's arms when she arrived later. Sarah's own family scars deepened the divide. Over coffee the next day, she shared her story. Coming out at 22, her parents, strict Midwesterners, disowning her, forcing her to fund med school alone. "It nearly broke me," she said, her eyes distant. "But I rebuilt. You can too." Emily admired her strength, but feared her own fragility. At work, her boss pulled her aside. "This situation is distracting the team. Take some time off." It was a veiled threat. Her promotion hung in the balance. Society's subtle discrimination hit hard. Clients canceling meetings, friends ghosting her. Yet amid the storm, their bond grew. Stolen weekends in anonymous hotels outside the city became sanctuaries. One night, as rain pattered against the window, Emily traced Sarah's collarbone. "During my fever, You were the only one who saw me, really saw me. Sarah smiled sadly. And you saw through my walls. But reality intruded. A mutual friend torn in loyalty warned Emily. Mark's telling everyone you cheated. It's getting ugly. Emily confronted him at a neutral cafe. The air thick with tension. Mark looked haggard. His usual polish faded. You humiliated me, he accused. Was it all a lie? Emily shook her head. I cared for you, but it wasn't enough. I'm sorry. He leaned in, voice low. Society won't accept this. You'll regret it. His words echoed her fears, but as she left, she felt a weight lift, honesty, painful as it was. Back home, Emily dove into research, joining online LGBT support groups. Stories of rejection mirrored hers, but so did tales of resilience. Sarah encouraged her, but tensions arose. You're pulling away, Sarah said one evening, after Emily canceled plans to appease her parents. Are you ashamed? Emily snapped back. It's easy for you. You've already lost everything. The fight escalated, words like daggers. Sarah stormed out, leaving Emily in silence, questioning if love was worth the isolation. Reconciliation came the next day. Apologies exchanged in a park under blooming cherry trees. We fight because it matters, Sarah said. Emily nodded, but the seed of doubt grew. Her mother's calls persisted, pleading for normalcy. A family intervention loomed, relatives flying in to save her. Emily braced for it, knowing each decision carried a price. Loyalty to family versus self-truth. As the confrontation neared, Emily reflected on the fever that started it all. Sarah's gentle heart had healed more than her body. It awakened her soul. But awakening came with thorns. In the mirror, Emily saw a woman transformed, stronger, yet scarred. The high cost of authenticity weighed heavy, but retreating felt like death. The family intervention unfolded like a courtroom drama in Emily's parents' Virginia home, a sprawling colonial filled with photos of happier times. Aunts, uncles, even a pastor from their church crammed into the living room, faces stern. Emily arrived alone, Sarah wisely staying back to avoid escalation. We're here because we love you, Linda began, but the tone was accusatory. Robert laid out evidence, articles on confusion, testimonies from ex-gays. Emily's stomach churned. This isn't a phase, she countered. It's who I am. The pastor interjected, quoting scripture selectively. God has a plan, a husband family. Emily fired back. What about love? Compassion? Murmurs of disapproval rippled. Her aunt chimed in. Think of the children you'll never have. The word stung. Emily had dreamed of motherhood, but now it felt tainted by expectation. As arguments flew, Emily felt isolated, a defendant in her own life. If you continue this, Robert warned, you're out of the will. Financial independence she could handle, but emotional exile? Devastating. Driving back to D.C., tears blurred the highway. Sarah waited with open arms. How bad? She asked. Emily recounted, collapsing into sobs. They see me as broken. Sarah held her. You're not. They're scared. But fear bred resentment. That night, Emily dreamed of the fever. Sarah's voice soothing, her presence a lifeline. Waking, she resolved to fight. Not just for love but for acceptance. Work became a battleground. A major client, conservative, pulled their account after hearing rumors. Her boss demoted her subtly, assigning menial tasks. Prove your focus, he said. Emily seethed, filing a complaint with HR. But bureaucracy moved slowly. Friends divided. Some supported quietly, others vanished. One, a childhood pal, betrayed her by gossiping to the press. A local blog post went viral. Wedding wrecked by lesbian affair. Comments poured in. Hateful slurs mixed with rare encouragement. Sarah faced parallel storms. A patient refused her care, citing moral issues. The hospital investigated, clearing her but warning of reputation damage. I could lose my license if this escalates, she confided. Emily felt guilty. Am I worth it? Sarah cupped her face. Always. Their intimacy deepened, conversations turning to future dreams, adoption perhaps defying norms. But reality bit. Sarah's ex, jealous, leaked old photos fueling the fire. A turning point came at a pride event in D.C. Emily attended hesitantly, Sarah by her side. Amid rainbows and chants, she felt belonging. A speaker shared a story mirroring hers. Family rejection, eventual reconciliation. Hope flickered. But confrontation awaited. Mark sued for emotional distress, a petty move amplified by media. Emily hired a lawyer, draining savings. He's hurting, Sarah said. Let it go. But Emily fought, countering with truth. The court date loomed, tension peaking. In preparation, Emily unearthed old journals from the fever period. Entries gushing about Sarah's kindness, hinting at deeper feelings. Her gentle heart. I could never forget. Reading them, she wept, realizing suppression had cost years of happiness. Sarah read them too, tears falling. We were meant to be. As trial began, Mark testified dramatically, painting Emily as deceitful. Her lawyer dismantled it, highlighting her internal struggle. Emily took the stand, voice steady. I didn't choose to hurt anyone. I chose honesty. The judge dismissed the case, but victory felt hollow amid glares from Mark's supporters. Post-trial, Emily reached out to her parents. A tentative coffee meet. Linda listened, Robert grumbled. Give us time, Linda said. Progress fragile. But Sarah's health scare, a grueling ER shift leading to exhaustion, reminded Emily of stakes. I can't lose you, she whispered in the hospital waiting room. Healing began slowly. Therapy sessions unpacked trauma, societal pressure, internalized homophobia. Emily volunteered at LGBT centers, finding purpose. Sarah published an op-ed on discrimination in medicine, gaining allies. Their relationship, forged in fire, strengthened. Yet shadows lingered, whispers lost connections. Each step forward demanded sacrifice, but the reward, authentic love. Months passed, scars fading but reminders constant. Emily's career rebounded. She switched firms to a progressive one in New York, commuting weekends to see Sarah. The move symbolized rebirth, away from Virginia's stifling gaze. But relocation brought new challenges. Urban anonymity mixed with blatant stares. A subway incident, a slur hurled their way, shook Emily. Sarah, ever resilient, pulled her close. We've faced worse. Family ties strained further. Holidays approached. Emily invited her parents to neutral ground. They declined, citing discomfort. Heartbroken, she spent Thanksgiving with Sarah's found family, queer friends who welcomed her warmly. Laughter filled the air, contrasting her blood family's silence. This is family too, Sarah said. Emily agreed, but longing persisted. Professional betrayals continued. Sarah's promotion stalled. A colleague outed as homophobic blocked it. She confronted him in a heated meeting. My skills matter, not my love life. He backed down, but resentment simmered. Emily encouraged a lawsuit, but Sarah chose diplomacy, negotiating a transfer. Winning battles, not wars, she quipped. Their decisions reflected growth, calculated risks over impulse. A major conflict arose when Emily's sister, Claire, reached out secretly. Pregnant and scared, she confessed admiration for Emily's courage. Mom and Dad are wrong, she whispered over the phone. Emily advised her, but Claire begged secrecy. The moral dilemma tore at Emily. Betray Claire's trust or enable family division? She chose honesty, urging Claire to come clean. It backfired. Claire panicked, telling their parents Emily interfered. Another rift. Repercussions hit hard. Robert called, furious. Stay away from my daughters. Emily hung up, trembling. Sarah comforted her, but doubt resurfaced. Am I destroying my family? Sarah shook her head. They're choosing fear over love. That night, they planned a future. Marriage, perhaps, in a state where it was celebrated. Dreams sustained them amid turmoil. Society's broader pressures mounted. A national debate on LGBT rights flared. Protests in D.C. drew them in. Marching hand in hand, Emily felt empowered. But violence erupted. A counter-protester shoved Sarah. Bruised but unbroken, she treated injuries on site, her doctor's instinct prevailing. Media captured it. Sarah became a symbol of resilience. Interviews followed, exposing their story nationally. Fame brought backlash. Hate mail, doxing. Emily's new boss supported her, but clients wavered. Is this worth it? Emily asked Sarah one sleepless night. Every day, Sarah replied, her gentle heart unwavering. Reflection on the fever returned. That pivotal comfort sparking it all. Healing with family inched forward. Linda sent a card. Thinking of you. Emily responded, bridges mending tentatively. Claire apologized, bonding over shared secrets. Robert remained distant, but time softened edges. As winter set in, Emily proposed to Sarah on a snowy New York bridge. Through everything, you're my constant. Sarah accepted, tears freezing on her cheeks. Joy mingled with sorrow, absent family. But they forged ahead, planning a small ceremony. The wedding day arrived, intimate, surrounded by allies. Vows exchanged, rings slipped on. Emily glanced at empty seats reserved for her parents. A text buzzed, Linda's. Congratulations. Love, Mom. Hope bloomed. Post-honeymoon challenges persisted. Sarah's career advanced. Emily thrived. But societal acceptance lagged. A community event turned sour when old friends shunned them. Emily confronted. Your prejudice costs friendships. Some reflected, others doubled down. In quiet moments, Emily pondered the price. Lost relationships, career hurdles, inner peace gained. Love's triumph outweighed, but scars reminded of battles fought. Years blended into a tapestry of triumphs and trials. Emily and Sarah built a life in New York. A cozy brownstone, adopted a rescue dog, pursued passions. Emily rose to partner in her firm, advocating for diversity. Sarah opened a clinic serving underserved LGBT communities, her gentle heart guiding her work. But echoes of the past lingered. Family reconciliation was uneven. Linda visited sporadically, warming to Sarah over time. Robert attended their anniversary reluctantly, progress in grudging acceptance. Moral quandaries persisted. When a young patient confided in Sarah about coming out, mirroring their story, Sarah advised caution. Emily debated. Should we encourage hiding? They disagreed, tensions flaring. I've paid the price, Sarah argued. So have I, Emily countered. Resolution came through compromise, support tailored to individuals. Societal shifts influenced them. Legal victories advanced rights, but backlash surged. A hate crime in their neighborhood shook them. They volunteered more, turning pain into action. Betrayals resurfaced. An old colleague leaked private emails, sparking scandal. Emily sued, winning vindication but exhausting emotionally. Deeper wounds healed slowly. Emily therapy unearthed suppressed guilt over Mark. She reached out. He had moved on, married. I forgive you, he said. Closure freed her. Claire's child grew, aunt-niece bond forming. Family holidays included them tentatively, traditions evolving. But not without cost. Awkward silences, judgmental glances. In reflection, Emily often thought of the fever, the catalyst. Sarah's comfort, her unforgettable heart, had unraveled a scripted life, weaving an authentic one. Decisions, prices, isolation, financial strain, emotional turmoil. Rewards, profound love, self-acceptance, purpose. As they aged, mentoring young queer women became legacy. Stories shared inspired, warnings heeded. One mentee faced similar wedding drama. Emily advised, choose truth but brace for fallout. In twilight years, sitting on their porch, hands intertwined, Emily whispered, no regrets. Sarah smiled. None. Yet the journey posed a lingering question. In a world quick to judge, is the pursuit of authentic love always worth the personal and societal costs it demands?